morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Obalde, and of course, we are back again as we promised yesterday. We'll be here to bring you the latest, and of course, news that are making headlines right now. And in the studio, I am with Aliou Cissé. Aliou, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you here always, man.
Thank you so much, Vijay, veteran journalist.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to be.
Well, I mean, it's good to be given compliments sometimes. These are very important, Aliou. I appreciate it. Mr. Ade, as usual.
I am Mr. Mboj today.
Oh, Mr. Mboj. Yes, you are welcome on this platform.
Absolutely. And thank you.
Well, this is how we're going to start our program today. The African proverb, and it's not just an African proverb, but I mean it's something that will teach you. I mean it's something that will give you the other side of life. And we have the African proverb, and we'll be doing the newspaper review. Mr. Mboj will be here, aka Ade Drame.
Absolutely.
And of course on Community Watch we'll also look at women and the challenges they face when it comes to oyster farming. We all understand oyster is something very important. I love it. I love oyster. So we'll be having Fatou Mboup here, and we'll be having a very fruitful discussion. And of course, on social issues, we'll be inviting an organization called EFANET, and we'll see how they are doing to help school-going children in difficult times. We'll be having some of their members here, the likes of Musa Jobate, Program Assistant EFANET, will be here for the discussion. Once again, Aliou, welcome to the program. We go straight to the African proverb, and it reads, "It makes no sense to throw stones at a fruitless tree." It makes no sense
Yes, indeed.
to throw stones at a fruitless tree.
You can take that as a literal sense, or you can take it metaphorically, I think. If you take it in the literal sense, obviously, if there's no fruit on a tree, then, you know, why you said throwing stones at it? You and I know growing up throwing stones at mango trees to try and drop the mango. But I think if you take it in the kind of metaphorical, you can speak about a person. And essentially, it's saying that there must be something good about you that makes people attack you, or target you. And so it's saying, be proud that you have something worthy of getting that kind of attention. So I think if you take it in the kind of metaphorical sense, then that's one interpretation, certainly. Yeah, there are many.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think I have the same views as that of Mr. Ade. I mean, if you're talking about, if you're referring to an individual, I mean, for me, I mean, even if you go by our local language, sometimes we say it. I mean, it is only when there is something good about you that, I mean, people tend to give that attention towards you. But also, if you see somebody, I mean, trying to throw at a fruitless tree, maybe there's also something wrong with that individual, because I don't see no reason why anybody is throwing stones at a fruitless tree. So for me, I mean,
definitely.
But what about you? What is your take on it?
Well, it's a matter of not wasting your energy. Do not flog the dead horse. I mean, imagine someone flogging a dead horse. I mean, it's all the same thing. It's the same interpretation.
It's a similar
so do not waste your energy on things that doesn't.
They're not going to bear fruit.
Yes, I think it's important for you to put your positive energy somewhere that will benefit you.
Sure.
So it is a very important proverb, and we can use it as a booster. Do you call it a booster?
you can boost.
VJ. You know, I like the way Aliou is sending me my VJ. I mean, it's positive. It's positive this morning.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much. That was our African proverb. And we'll take a short break. After the break, then we'll go straight to the newspaper review. I'm seeing quite very interesting headlines here. We'll be delving into these one by one. We'll be back.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using IFA Kanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS, IFA Kanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that break. And of course, QCell Sunyabus, get your number 3 or your number 5. You are guaranteed quality network at all times. And of course, Q Money for your cash power and all bank transactions. You can do it on your Q Money. We are back again and we'll go straight to the newspaper review. Aliu.
Thank you very much, Ibrahima Balde. I have Foria newspaper, and I understand you have the Voice newspaper. Point is also with us. I mean, on the Foria newspaper, we have President Barrow talks tough on implementation of anti-corruption law as he swears in his new cabinet. VP Badra Ali Jof, Vice President of the Gambia, the new Vice President, challenges relevant ministers to mitigate rising cost of living and security among other issues. That's what I have on the Foria newspaper. How about you, Balde?
Okay, all right. This is the Voice newspaper. World Bank Group approves new country partnership framework for the Gambia. And of course, we must take a zero-tolerance stand on corruption, Barrow tells new cabinet. VP Juve says high cost of living and insecurity needs to be urgently addressed. And of course, $100 million Immortal Sal Hotel at standstill as OIC summit approaches rather.
Yeah. Is that all you have?
Yes.
Okay, I have the Point newspaper, and again, Barrow pledges zero tolerance to corruption in the left hand, and in the middle, big case that we've been following. In fact, my colleague Aliu had been following this case for a state witness, says GAM Petroleum lost half of its revenue, which is really quite a shocking statement. We will be following this case, I can guarantee. And PDOIS, red line in politics. And a Turkish technical team visits OIC Gambia Secretariat ahead of 2022 summit. Again, we covered that on QTV News. And then, interestingly, one which, of course, is related to us, Q Group holds second National Quranic Recitation Competition final. It happened over a week ago now, but it's nice to see that it's still making the papers here. And just to say quickly, as well as the President Barrow corruption, is also the Point is their editorial. Corruption is a menace. So, Mr. Balde, I don't know which one you want to delve in.
Yes,
corruption is a menace.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
What all of us have been waiting for happened yesterday. We saw the new cabinets sworn in, and you know, looking at the president's statement, the issue of corruption seems to stand out for all of us. I mean, he talks tough on corruption, and you know, warning the new ministers to think and act in the interest of the country.
Sure.
How do you analyze this statement?
Very much. I mean, for me, and I have to say this, I think they've given them, because by what they said, their statements yesterday, they've raised our expectations that they are actually going to deal with, they're going to tackle corruption. And I think this is something that, you know, and also we can probably talk later about Badr Ali Juf's statement as well, you know, this short and brilliant speech that he gave. This has raised our expectations that this is something, because we all complain about corruption, and for a country like ours and other countries where, you know, people say corruption is rife, it holds back that country's progress and development. And so we want people, you know, new act has come in, there's going to be an anti-corruption commission. Hopefully it will be similar to the one in Sierra Leone, where before the Anti-Corruption Commission would investigate and then hand over to the Attorney General's office for prosecution. And then they changed the law in Sierra Leone where they could both investigate and prosecute. And so hopefully we'll be doing something similar here, because it needs to be tackled. Otherwise, you know, as I said, it's holding back the country.
Mr. Drame, let's look at corruption in general. I mean, when you talk about corruption, what comes to your mind? I mean, I think corruption goes beyond, I mean, maybe doing dubious act in departments or trying to do away with certain things that doesn't belongs to you, or trying to deprive people from getting what they are supposed to get.
Yes.
But where does corruption starts from?
Well, you know, I'm glad you asked the question, because today, of all days, I think we have the perfect example of exactly the reason you're talking about in the question. This Gulf Petroleum scandal, if these folks are found guilty, that is the perfect instance of corruption. People who are in positions of power abusing that, and to the detriment of the nation. The nation ends up paying, and when the nation pays, it means money that the country should be spending on other things, they're spending having to pay off debts that the country didn't incur, but somebody else incurred it. But because of contractual obligations, the country ends up having to settle the bill. That is corruption. And you know, so you know, corruption is, and you know, we talk about the whole thing about, you know, policemen at side of the road. We've all seen it, so let's not even pretend it doesn't happen. They stop a driver who they should take off the road, and he slips them some money, and they let him go. That's kind of low-level corruption. But the corruption that really impacts a country is really the corruption that should be tackled, the big corruption. People who are in positions of power, of authority. And, you know, there's too much of this thing where, you know, because of the way things are transacted, they're not tracked in a way where they're tracked electronically, where you can't really kind of fiddle them, you know. And so because, you know, people come, they sign a piece of paper, they hand you something, and then you hand them an envelope, and they get a contract. You know, things aren't scrutinized in that kind of forensic way. And so it's easy to be corrupt. And we were discussing this before we came on air today, and saying, you know, I grew up with lots of people who, they were classmates of mine. We used to sit around, we used to blast corrupt politicians. But guess what? Some of my own classmates ended up being politicians, and they ended up being corrupt, like seriously corrupt. I'm not talking about small level, I'm talking about millions. One of whom is Igbinedion. I hope he's watching. He became a governor in Nigeria. He was impeached for corruption.
He became very corrupt.
He became corrupt, and he was impeached.
In this case, Mr. Ade, do you think it is possible to entirely wipe out corruption, especially in Africa?
I think if you have proper checks and balances, you can.
Okay.
Because you know, it gets to a situation where you know, people don't have the opportunity to be corrupt. They don't have the opportunity to steal. And I'll just very, very quickly, when I was thinking of moving to Cape Verde, it was one of the things that concerned me, you know, because people have this perception of Africa and corruption, and said, I'm quite good at research. For a whole week, I couldn't find anything about corruption in Cape Verde. And then one day I found an article, and it was written by an Englishman. And he said that he had visited 21 countries in Africa. He said the only country he was not able to bribe officials was in Cape Verde. And he gave an example of exactly what happened. He wanted to take some foodstuff out of the country, and he went to the directorate where you get the stamp that allows you to take it out. And he said, just to try the thing, he said, they told him, come on Tuesday, 10 o'clock, and you'll get your certificate. And he said, well, what if I gave you some money now and I got it tomorrow? And the guy said, no, no, come on Tuesday. He kept increasing the money that he was willing to pay. And the guy said, I don't think you heard me. I said, come Tuesday, 10 o'clock, you'll get your certificate. And of course, Tuesday, 10 o'clock, he turned up, he got his certificate. He said any other African country, he would have been able to circumvent the system by bribing.
I mean, no doubt, Cape Verde is seen as a role model for most of these countries, I mean, even in terms of politics, the way they conduct their political affairs. I mean, but aside from the law, what is the other key reason that you think make Cape Verde stand out? You know, it's one thing to have the law,
yes,
but there's more to that as well.
When I've been going for just
imagine
short of 10
they
years.
might have the law, but the guy could have said, no problem, give me the money, get your certificate.
I've been going there for just short of 10 years, and it's a kind of, it's an attitude across the country, where when you go to the schools and you hear what they teach the children, they tell them not to accept bribes.
Wow.
They tell them all these sorts of things that we kind of civic education, even things like, you know, don't throw dirt on the street and so on. But this thing about, because they're very proud that every time they do the list for African countries for the least corrupt, Cape Verde for the last 10 or 12 years has been first or second. And they want to keep it that way. And so you go to the schools, you go to the colleges, the universities, you hear it hammered home to the people, we want to keep that status. So please, if somebody tries to bribe you, don't accept it. You know, so that is kind of what needs to happen. So it's about more than just talking about it. It's actually doing something about it, and that's the only way it's going to change.
You know, for me, what I think corruption is, sometimes it have to do with the mind. You understand the way people think. I mean, sometimes you think, if I don't do this thing, or if I do not take this particular money from this individual, I am losing out.
Not only that, somebody else will take it
Yeah.
and give them
Exactly.
and give them what they want.
That's what I said.
So they're like, well, it might as well be me, you know, because that is what happens sometimes. They think, oh well, I'll go around you, I'll go to somebody else who will take my bribe, and so yeah.
Exactly. Aliu, any other thing on that paper?
Yeah, I mean that's all. Is the vice president, I mean, challenging the new ministers to help mitigate the rising cost of living and insecurity. I mean, talking about the issue of, you know, weak institutions, they now need strong leadership to be able to address some of these
you know,
concerns.
I feel very strongly about this because my father was once a government minister. At one point he was Minister of Trade, and then he was Minister of Information. And he always used to drum into our heads that if ever you become a minister, if you go in, because he knew we were into politics, he said, remember that you are actually the people's servant. And I don't say this in any kind of fluffy, kind of cheap way. He really meant it. He said, people elect you to serve, not to rule over them. And I think that's something that we tend to forget. You know, somebody becomes president or a minister and so on, and we kind of almost worship them, rather than say, you are the people's servant. You know, we put you in there to serve our interests, not yours. And I don't think enough of that happens. And so I really like that speech, because he was holding his other fellow, you know, the ministers rather, you know, fellow members of the cabinet, to say, look, there's a task here. It's a difficult task. The president also said it, that, you know, you have some, you know, uncomfortable things that you're going to have to deal with. And it's good for that message. But you know what, for us, we need to then hold them to it. Because as I said at the beginning, they've kind of raised the bar by making those statements. And they've raised our expectations. We now have to make sure that they live up to those expectations.
I've listened to the president yesterday on his speech after the swearing ceremony. The president said to them, don't think it will be very easy. Like, it won't be easy like that. And at the same time, he also focused on individual development. I mean, making you individual instead of national development.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, there's a statement here from his speech. He said, I expect and encourage all ministries to build genuine and fruitful partnerships and work with all sincere stakeholders to yield results for the people. That's a really, people might think, oh, that's just another statement, but think about it. Essentially, what it's saying is that you might not be in government, you might not be in parliament, you might not even belong to my party, but if you are a sincere Gambian and you want the betterment of this country, you will work in the national interest. And then everybody benefits. Don't say, oh, because I don't belong to the party, or I'm not in cabinet and so on, I'm not going to do something to help my country. Because you suffer, your children suffer, your grandchildren suffer. So if you are genuine and you love your country, you will be that person who will come.
Well, I think some of the things that drags Gambia behind is more of belonging to this political party. I mean, I won't join the NPP because I am APRC or I am this party. You know, I think sometimes we need to leave all that behind and come together and work as one if we are interested in the development of our country.
And you know what, you know, this is why I make no apologies for I keep on mentioning Cape Verde. In the last 5 elections, they've actually had a change of government. But you know what has not changed? The progress of the nation. Because every party that comes in, they're all thinking about the same thing. We must do things for the betterment of our nation, for the development of our nation. And that is inculcated in everybody. Amilcar Cabral, the liberator of both Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde, you read his words, you hear his speeches, they all worship him, regardless of which party they belong to, because he was very, very structured in his thinking about, you know, progress, about lack of corruption, about education and the importance of education and the importance of honesty. And those things have guided both sides of the political spectrum. I mean, I can't think of any other country where in successive elections another party has replaced the one party and yet things carry on as usual. And the reason that happens is everybody is working in the national interest.
Very important. The Vice President also mentioned security in this country. It's good that he mentioned it at this time, especially we are on security reform at this time.
The security reform agenda has been ongoing for quite a while. It's not completed yet because, you know, there are lots of sensitive issues that need to be dealt with, need to be addressed. You know, some of the thing was about reducing the size of the military, for example. And then you get what happens in Casamance, and you're thinking, oh, should we really be thinking about reducing the size of the military just now? Supposing that escalates into something else. And so that, again, the whole funny thing, it's become quite a contentious area, and you know, that needs to be handled very, very seriously. So, of course, people are very, very, you know, in Sierra Leone we call it kolat, you know, the kind of peace of mind. If there is security, there's peace of mind, and then everything else can function. Because if there is not security, if I'm thinking of investing in the Gambia, I'll think, oh, that country is not secure. You know, it's unstable.
And
and
that's
so
one of the key things that investors look at.
It's key.
Security, energy. They look at this very critical.
This is it. So
how stable is your energy and, you know, security.
And how stable is the country? Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you're going to spend millions in a foreign country and you are not assured of security and, you know, returns of investment.
All right, let's look at the OIC. 100 million Imolan Sal Hotel at standstill as OIC summit approaches.
The most ambitious project that I think the Gambia has undertaken since independence is this summit.
Yeah.
I live on Coastal Road. Anybody living there now would know that the road has been dug up, and it's for me, I don't mind the inconvenience because it's progress. And I think that is something that we have to look at and we have to accept. And I say it's ambitious because there are so many different strands to it. There's the building of hotels, there's the building of roads, there's, you know, the airport expansion and so on. Really, really ambitious. And it's going to be difficult to satisfy all of those. As I say, for those of us who live where the road is being dug up and reconstructed, we can see that on a daily basis. But there are other you know, elements that need to be kind of ramped up if we are going to host it in some good time. You know, the original timetable, of course, is gone once and is about to go again, let's be honest. But these things will be built because they've started the building process. So that, the hotel process, I always thought that was, again, another ambitious project. But it'll get built. Yeah,
for me, whether or not Gambia is able to host the summit this year, let them just make sure these projects are implemented.
And that's
because
the
impact,
message.
the impact of the project is what matters to all of us. I mean, beside the summit is just a week.
Right. But if
the
these projects
but the projects will,
if they're completed, it's a game changer.
It's a game
for
changer.
this country in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure.
It's a game
And
changer.
of course, those who are given funds have said they will fund it until they are completed, regardless. And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope, you know, we are able to host it this year, or maybe maybe next 2 years is possible, because in most cases what they do, if a particular country is not able to host the summit, it is taken back to the headquarters in Saudi.
That's right.
So I mean, Gambia still hold the rights of hosting the summit like we had in 2019.
That's right.
But let's just hope, I mean, like I said, I mean, these projects are implemented for the
well,
good of all of
the
us.
summit is very important, but also the projects are the most important to this country.
For this country,
Yeah,
yes.
because at the end of the time, they all stay here. You know, we are the ones that are to enjoy this. I know the fear that many people have is whether these projects are going to continue. But I mean, according to Fali Fadera, he said they will stay in the Gambia. Well, it will continue.
I mean, the Saudis who are providing a lot of the funding have said exactly that. And they've said it time and time again. I don't know how many times they need to state it and restate it. They've said that the funding is there until these projects are completed. And once these projects are completed, the nation will benefit from them. 100%.
Exactly. Aliu, I know we will go off the newspaper, and we focus on a story yesterday on QTV News, the Mandinering incident, where 3 boys were accused of setting 2 boys on fire at the same time, trying to kill them.
I watched the news. I was like, no, this is not true. This is not the Gambia.
I can't imagine how can
I couldn't imagine
a person have
yeah.
all that confidence, I mean, all that power to take the law in their own hands to do such an act.
You know, I say this time and time again, you know, every time I sat and I watched the TRRC here in the Gambia, I watched the one in Sierra Leone where people came and admitted that I lined up a whole family and I cut off the hands of each one of them. it tells you the potential for wickedness that exists in human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, and some of these people, they tell you, oh, I was a school teacher before I became a rebel fighter. So when you were a school teacher, you surely didn't think of doing things like that. And when I heard this story, I mean, and everybody's been discussing it since, our colleague Babakar Cisse did a really great job on it. It's shocking in so many angles. And, thankfully, they were apprehended before these two boys were killed. Otherwise, they would have been killed. Somebody tipped off the police and eventually saved their lives. But look at the scars and the burns that they got. Imagine you were prepared to burn two people alive.
In a well.
In a well, a disused well. When that failed to, they were choking from the smoke and so on, they clambered out of it, and then you then tried to dump them in the river to drown. I mean, it's truly shocking story. And let's hope, justice prevails.
Well,
and they get sent away for a long time.
It's unfortunate. I mean, sometimes I think some of our youths are going mad. I mean, such an act. Well,
again, I go back to Sierra Leone. You have all these young child soldiers who were told, kill your parents or we kill you. And they killed their parents. Imagine the people who brought you into this world, brought you up. So, human beings, we have the potential for extreme violence and extreme wickedness. And that will always be as long as human beings are on this planet, sadly. But this is a truly shocking case.
And this one it's going to be a key challenge for the new Minister of Interior, Siaka Sonko. I mean, he really needs to, get to work and ensure some of these things are quickly addressed, because the trend at which this country is moving, looking at the crime rates in this country, is quite worrying, Mr. Ade. It's quite worrying.
Yeah, I mean,
it's quite worrying.
When you think about it, lots of people, they want to get rich without working hard, without sweating for it. And so that can lead, you have lots of people who envy other people. You hear about people having their brand new phones snatched from them and so on. Those things are very difficult for anybody to police, no pun intended, because it's a kind of individual thing. But I think there needs to be a kind of, you talked about a mindset and a mind set change, and that is what needs to exist. It
really needs to. I think sometimes it's just because of the nature of the law, but imagine someone comes to your house with the intent to either take what belongs to you or kill you, and you happen to apprehend that person, and then the law is saying, I mean, you should really treat that person nicely.
Exactly.
Sometimes it really makes me think otherwise. Imagine if the person has gotten his or her way, the person will have killed you.
Well, recently there was a video circulating. I mean, it is alleged that an unknown, unidentified person entered in a house around Salaji end, and this guy was apprehended by some of the people living in that community. He was beaten mercilessly,
yeah, sure.
And when he got to the hospital, they have to cut off his leg.
Yeah, and the reason people take the law into their own hands, and you made a very crucial point for the minister, is that people need to have the confidence that if something happens, if a crime is committed, those who commit the crime will pay the full penalty for committing that crime. When people think that is not happening, that is when they take the law into their own hands. So you need to restore the confidence of the public that when these things happen, something will be done about it, and something decisive. Otherwise, people think, oh, well, the law is not going to do it, we're going to do it ourselves. And sometimes mistakes can happen, and an innocent person gets killed by a vigilante mob. So really, it's a tough job.
Thank you, Mr. Ade, for coming on this platform. It's always good to have you here. And we'll take a short break. And from the break, we'll go straight to our Community Watch. And of course, as I mentioned, on Community Watch, we'll be having discussion centered on oyster farming in the Gambia. We all know how good oyster is. We all know how nice it is when you're taking it. But I mean, the struggles that people go through before getting it, I mean, I think people need to know this.
Yes.
We'll take a short break, and we'll be having Fatou Mboup. She's already in the studio. We'll be back.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your QMoney wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your QMoney wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using QMoney Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back. Be reminded you are watching QTV this morning, and I am Ibrahim Abalde with Mr. Aliou Cisse in the studio with me. If you missed some of the things that we've discussed on this program, you can go to our Facebook page and, of course, our YouTube channel to follow some of the discussions. And as I mentioned, we'll be looking at oyster farming. As you know, many women in the Gambia derive most of their income through oyster farming. And oyster farming, it's among the most difficult farmings in the Gambia, because women have to struggle a whole lot to get some of these things called oyster from the river. And it's not only getting them, but the process to where we have the finished material, which we see in our markets. I mean, it's a big struggle. So we already have Fatou Mboup in the studio with us. Mrs. Mboup, you are welcome on this platform.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Aliou, she's here, and it's going to be a very important discussion.
I know. I mean, like my colleague said, thank you so much for joining us on this program. I mean, looking at the work, I mean, involved in oyster, I mean, just take us through, I mean, the process.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. And finally, I'm happy to have someone to be able to show the work of the oyster woman in the Gambia. So really, first of all, I would like to start by saying oysters is priceless. I don't care how much money you are charged, you should be willing to pay if you know the process for which the women go through to get these oysters. At some time, we had a program where we had to take the media to the processing area for them to see, actually, because I met with someone, many people actually. This old lady, 84-year-old woman, told me, say, Fatou, you know, I ate oysters all my life, but I never knew how oysters was obtained. So that's why it's important to always remind people what we go through before getting the oysters. So, I mean, where I would like to start from is, okay, it's a 3-day program, whole day, before you can actually get the oysters to the market. Wow. First of all, the woman will get up as early as 6 o'clock in the morning, depending on the tide. Sometimes it's evening time, other times it's morning. Going through with their small, you know, little dock canoes, going to fetch oysters. And they go to the mangrove, through the mangrove, they paddle through the mangroves. And they actually remove the oysters from the branches of the mangroves one by one to be able to have a basket. So like the whole day, one will get about maybe 2 baskets of oysters, depending on the availability of the oysters. As you may know now, the oysters are now diminishing. They are not as many as before, mainly because of course, climate change is there. And then there are many, many more women doing oysters. So you can get very little oysters for the whole day. And then, of course, remember you have to come back before the tide is high, because as they have their small dock canoes, they go by themselves. And so when they come back, sometimes they come in the evening, sometimes as early as late as 8 in the night when it's actually dark. They come, pour the oysters at the tender, where they land inside. Yeah. Then the next morning, early morning, they come back, start shucking the oysters. It's a tedious process. You sit down there and you take out oysters one after the other, peeling it. And sometimes you have your whole family coming to help you. So that alone, and then the next day before you actually go to the market to sell. So it's actually 3 working days, 2 working days basically, and then the last day is when you go to sell. So, and then the selling, you go to the market, and sometimes people come to buy it from them from the site, and other times when there are too many oysters, they go around, carrying their basket from house to house selling oysters. And at the end of the day, when the oysters are not finished, storage, there is nowhere to store it.
Yeah, I was coming to that point.
Storage is a problem. To that point. So they end up selling it at a cheaper price, or they end up drying it the next day, and we don't have the facilities to do those things. So these are that is how oysters is obtained. But most importantly is the way, which I would like for you one day to do, to go to the mangrove and actually show people how they remove oysters one after the other. It's a long.
But I think we have a process here. I mean, I think this is the process which they use. I mean, to remove the oyster itself.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't understand. I mean, looking at these photos, people think when you get it from the river, you just come and remove it. I can see it have to go through a whole lot of process.
It's a whole lot of process, yeah.
Yes.
You can see that picture that you showed before is when they bring the oysters, because one person cannot do it, shucking the whole basket of oysters. So you have to have family members and friends who will come and help. That's when you see them gathering around there. And then when they help you, you have to give them something. They just come and help you so at the end of the day, they don't get very much money from it,
I mean, at the beginning you said, it is priceless. I mean, how is the income?
When I say priceless, I mean that if you know what the process is about.
The process involved,
and when you are charged for that little cup.
Yeah.
As nowadays people are complaining, they say, oh, Fatu, is because of Fatu, the oysters are so expensive.
Exactly.
Before it was $15 and now it's $70. Of course.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, like, how is the price? I mean, is it something worth going through all these difficult, a whole day just to get oyster?
Yeah, but this is what they know. This is the only place they can earn their living from. As you know, the Jola ethnic group, they are predominantly, the ones that does the oysters, and if they came from Casamance and from Guinea-Bissau originally, but of course they are now born and bred in the Gambia, and so they are Gambians. But before, people, they just go to, do household work and all that.
Yes.
And now you could go and work. At the end of the day, at least you could have the next day, if you ask them, they will say, okay, we have money to give our children to eat breakfast, and then we have to pay their school fees, and then they have to buy their rice. So it's okay. I mean, they have to do that. But I mean, most of the women are there. They are the breadwinners in their homes. Most of their husbands are either they are not around. They've gone looking for greener pastures, or they are menial workers, looking for bricklaying here and there, or watchmen. So the women, they actually take control over the children and the house. So they have no choice.
Yes, you've mentioned. Yes.
Do you have any sort of an association or a body that help coordinate the activities of these women oysters? And if yes, do you receive any sort of support from either the government or maybe the other bodies?
Yeah, you know, okay, I don't know. We talk about the Tri Oyster Women Association, Tri. Okay. If you ask me what the meaning of Tri is, it's just Tri. The women, they selected that name themselves. It means trying. They are trying. They adopted that name. Yeah. And it's an association that comprises of 15 different communities in the Tanbi, mostly in the Tanbi area. Okay. When I say Tanbi, I mean from Wenshaw to Kamalo, to Joshua, to Ibo Town, to, you know, all the way to Maninari. So they came together, we put them together, and then they form an association. And they have, in each community, they have a committee. And that committee we have at the Tri Oyster Women Association, this center, at the Joshua, opposite the market. There is an overall association, I mean, the Federation of the Oyster Women. So this is how we are. I mean, if you, we are all the way on, up to Casamas, because Casamas and Katong, they share the same resources, that's the Alahan estuary. Yeah. So we actually had to go there to train them also, because they would I mean, they're using the same resources and sharing the same Alahan. So, I mean, that's fine. We formed that. We formed ourselves in 2009. We're a registered association, and we're in the, after that we became, we have been given the exclusive use rights from what we have been doing. I mean, this is thanks to the USAID that had the Banafar program, WWF. They supported TRI for 5 years. And that's where we're able to set up our association and did the trainings on all sorts of things, on hygiene and business, everything we train them on. So after that phase out, we had, you know, we had support from government here and there. I shouldn't say we don't have support at all, but it could be much better. And this support is, you know, capacity building. Capacity building is a continuous process. You cannot tell me, I mean, you have trained this woman for 1 year, is over. That means they go back to where they were before. So this is one of the challenges we're having. And of course, dealing with the women, these women are mostly, they can't read or write. So it's not easy trying to bring them up to standards of where they should be now. As a result, we are now engaging the young ones, the youth. We call them new generation of TRI. So we are training them so that they can, at least they can read and write, and they can go to the Facebook, they can do research, and they can take the oyster harvest into a higher height. So this is basically what we're doing, but government really has not helped us. I should say that.
What kind of help do you want, apart from capacity building? What kind of help do you want?
Okay, like for example, you all see on the main road, you see the women selling oysters on the main road, you know, under the same condition for the past decades. In fact, that was how I was able to get inside to farm them. Because I was just passing by, I mean, by selling oysters, and I see them doing the same thing every day, and I just stopped by and said, okay, you know, started asking them questions. Of course, they doubted me because they didn't understand how, why me? Exactly. You know, because in fact, some of them thought I was a politician. I told them clearly, I said it on TV, I said, I'm not a politician.
Yeah, that's the attitude of politicians.
I said, no.
Maybe perhaps they thought you were aspiring to...
So I said, no, I am not.
I hope you didn't do it when elections were close.
I did it. I mean, of course, the former president. And everybody was like, far to me. The fact where they kept politician. No, but I am... by profession, I'm a social worker. I was an extension worker, and I worked with agricultural department when I was young, much younger. And so, you know, when I got back, we retired, I said, okay, I had to do something. And what I did was to just try to see what I can contribute to society, to community. So that's how we were set up. But honestly, it wasn't easy setting up people because they are not used to somebody just coming to help them, organizing them, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was a rough journey, but eventually they gained the trust. They said, okay, this lady really wants to help us. So we said, okay, I started with one community, that was Kamalo. Said, okay, let's do something. How are we going to start up? Let's organize something to raise awareness, to get the media, to get the government, to get the people to understand the hazard what we go through. And then that was, I mean, it was quite a success. We did a big fundraising event at the Kamalo Highway. We call it Oyster Festival. And invited people, and they talked about our issues. And then so everybody started knowing about us. That was why, how it was that time it was $10 a cup. And now it came up to $75. So government, what I'm trying to say here is that, I mean, these women are not only doing oysters. The mangroves is most important, and that's the environment. For me, I always think the community is most important. The community, these people, they live along the coastal areas. They rejuvenate the mangroves. The mangroves are most important to our community. This is from the mangroves that you have all these, the small fishes is a nursery ground for the fishes and for the, the food that we eat that goes to the Atlantic Ocean. So if they tamper much with the mangroves, then we wouldn't have fish. You and I wouldn't have fish to eat.
Yes.
And not only that, they have also the mangroves help us from erosion. I mean, floods. They are very important, but people don't pay much attention to this.
I wanted to ask you this. I mean, I have seen a whole lot of organizations trying to do mangrove plantation. Do you do that thing? I mean, because in few years, we won't be having oysters, as you mentioned at the beginning
because of climate change.
Yeah, this is part of our programs. Excuse me. This is part of our program. We do mangrove planting every year. Every rainy season, we do mangrove planting. If you go to these communities where the women are, most of their mangroves are very healthy. They always engage themselves. The whole community, like for example, the last time we did it was in Fajikunda. Fajikunda, we involve everybody, the whole community, the young ones, the big men, everybody, because we wanted them to understand the reason why the women were doing this. And if you plant mangroves, and then the young boys will come and play football, or the fishermen will come and put their canoes and destroy it, they wouldn't know. They didn't know what we are doing. So that's why we involve them. So indeed, that's what we did. That's part of our programs. Of course, now it's good. I'm seeing everybody doing mangrove planting. It's a trend now. It's fine. We just want people to protect our environment. We don't care who does it. Let them just do it. But we do that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Fatou Mbub, for coming on this program. Oh, we are very sorry we didn't offer you coffee or water, but I'm expecting maybe she is following the 6 days fasting.
No, that's no excuse.
My fasting ends, I think the last day they said we should pray.
No, you said this morning, so yes. I thought when I come, I will find coffee here from QTV.
Next time, we will provide you coffee, inshallah. Thank you very much for coming on this program. We'll be following developments, and of course, Aliou Cissé, I think you should be the one to follow this, because yes, going to the river is my problem. I'm not going inside the water.
No, I know. You will love it. You will love it. When you come to the river, you will love it. I mean, it's so natural. You are cruising.
It's something worth following. I think I will come and do something around.
Yeah, and the problem is we are frustrated because we have done so many programs on GTV. I mean, it's GTV. I mean, Gambia television service and everybody, but nothing has really. I mean, sometimes we get frustrated getting the new people coming to us. It's okay. What are you doing for us? Do something.
All right. Thank you. Yes, it's already time, but we will follow developments and we will make sure anything that you do, we will try to be there to support you. Thank you very much for coming on this platform. Viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll be looking at a call to protect education, how an organization called IFANET is helping children's education. We'll be back.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow. Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75C and $100C and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10C to $100C using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q-Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS, eFunkanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Welcome back from that break. And of course, very interesting engagement with Fatou Mboup, women oyster farming, very important. And of course, we'll go straight to what we call social issues, and we'll be looking at how an organization is helping when it comes to children's education called IFANET. And we have Omar Danso and of course Musa Jobate in the studio with us. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Who do we start with? Let's start with
Jobate.
Yes.
From IFANET, right?
Exactly.
Yes, I mean, thank you very much, Mr. Jobate and Danso for coming. I just wanted to take us through, I mean, like Jennifer would say, let's lay the foundation.
Exactly.
When you talk about IFANET, I mean, what are you talking about here?
Okay, thank you very much, Aliu, for that question, and then good morning to our beautiful followers out there. Yes, when we say IFANET, IFANET is an education, coalition. It's a coalition that, is comprises of individual organizations that are at least doing something in promoting right to education, or in promoting the realization of, acquiring education by Gambian children. Yes, not only Gambian children, but every Gambian to say. So this is a coalition, and then of course we are here with one of our member organizations that is Activista. So it's a membership organization, it's organization membership. So and education, IFANET is was established in the year 2001, but then normalized its legal procedures in 2002. This it was a response to a call that was made in Dakar 2000, where world leaders in education met and come up with a paper called Dakar Framework for Action. That was meant for, a challenge or a call was made for world leaders to start or to endeavor to ensure that education is provided to the world children, because a survey was made. And then it was realized that millions of the world children were going to bed without acquiring education. But then before Dakar, Dakar meeting in the year 2000, a similar meeting was held in Jomentin in 1990. And so a similar call was made, but this call was renewed in year 2000 in Dakar. So, I mean, in year 2001, some of the civil society organizations from the Gambia were part of this meeting. I mean, the like of Action Aid, the like of the Teachers Union, and so on and so forth. So when they came back, you know, I mean, it was realized that Gambia also need to have, you know, I mean, an organization, because a call was also made for the CSOs to step up in promoting education, right to education for all. So, and this is how IFANET came about. And since then, IFANET is, you know, it's trying, you know, its best in the area of education, particularly when it comes to in terms of promoting equitable, equality, and affordable, of course, to say inclusive as well, relevant, and so on and so forth in the country.
Exactly. So let's move to Omar Danso. Mr. Danso, you're from Activista and you're partnering with IFANET. How important is this to Activista?
Looking at education, I think it's one of the key pillars of Activista, because we believe that we work with women and young people, and in order for us to realize their full potential, they must be engaged in meaningful development, and to achieve that, there must be sufficient education. That is why at Activista, one of our pillars is capacity building. One other pillar is shared learning. So these are opportunities where people can actually read and understand. And these things, as long as they are fundamental human rights, they must be respected. We are looking at access. We are looking at inclusivity. We are looking at making sure that every individual have the right to education. So if these things are in place, for us, we feel that joining the advocacy to make sure that the duty bearers are put into account to provide for, because one of their fundamental responsibility is to provide, is to fulfill, and is to protect our Gambians. So if you have young people in the country who actually deserve to have education, these are things that needs to be provided. So that is why at Activista level, we join coalitions wherever we feel necessary, because we feel that these are issues that are affecting young people. These are issues affecting our average Gambians. So that is why we're not only focusing on education, we have other components, but with this coalition, we focus on education because we feel that in order for us to have a transformative change in our society, people must be educated. And we are not only talking about access to education, but we are also looking at quality education, not just to go through school, but you are able to make
quality education. Mr. Jobate, what success have you registered? I mean, so far since you
over
started,
2 decades
yes,
now.
You said it came into place in 2001 and effective in 2002. Can you tell us the success that you've registered so far?
Thank you very much. Actually, the organization, you know, was effective since its establishment. But then the legal, legal procedures with Ministry of Justice and the like were, you know, finalized in the year 2002. Yes, IFANET, when we're talking about our success, we don't give this account, in exclusion of our member organization, because we are a coalition. So of course, I mean, that's why, you know, when we are giving our success, we of course put, you know, bring the successes that our member organizations also mark, you know, as a coalition, as a, you know, a whole. Of course, we have, we have organizations that are into service delivery. We have, you know, the like of, you know, Activista, he said here, you know, they are into capacity building. Of course, they made so many, you know, outreach activities to, you know, the young, you know, men and women across the country. Of course, we've seen them, you know, I mean, conducting documentary, you know, I mean, on children, you know, right of children to education. Just last year, you know, they've conducted, you know, a similar, you know, thing for us, you know, during the Gawi. We've seen, you know, the like of GTU, we've seen the like of Child Fund and the like. But if you come to IFANET as a coordinating body, as a coalition, of course, we also register numerous, you know, achievements, because we've been able to influence, you know, policies, because at IFANET, we are meant to advocate and also hold the government accountable. And of course, you know, going further to influence, you know, policy decisions, which we believe we've been doing, because we have series of, you know, engagement with the government authorities, I mean, with some of our partners and member organizations on, I mean, to cite, you know, on the issue of National Disability Bill that is just recently, you know, enacted into act. You know, we've been working with Gambia Federation for the Disabled on that since, you know, 2014 to date. Finally, you know, we, you know, get it through. We participated in the, you know, in the campaign for, you know, access to information, because while we also participate in some of these things, we feel that, you know, when it comes to, you know, education, you need to, one, I mean, access to information is very paramount. When you talk about inclusivity of education, you know, you cannot, you know, sideline the persons with disability and this and so many other things. And again, we've been, you know, also conducting series of engagement with the Minister of Education. There were times that we, you know, participated, you know, in the review of the, you know, special needs, you know, education policy framework, of course, which was, you know, and of course, I mean, just recently we also conducted some policy, you know, review of education policies just last year, and then we have some of them. We conducted series of researches on education and education-related matters that, you know, would influence policies. And then anytime we do this, we share these findings with, you know, policy makers. We engage the National Assembly makers, National Assembly members rather. We engage the, you know, the Ministry of Education and other relevant authorities. And, you know, the objective of doing that is to influence policies. And then we've realized that, you know, I mean, systematically we are influencing policies as we are engaging authorities.
Yes, currently looking at all these things that you've done, I mean, I think you've done a lot when it comes to the education sector, according to you. But there is a lot to be done too. What are some of the things that you think should be improved, and the things that you are working on currently?
Thank you very much. You will realize that that's why this GAWI is important, Global Education, Global Action Week for Education. That's why it is important, because this is a platform that is, you know, set aside by the world leaders to, I mean, internationally, to call world leaders to actions, to hold them accountable for their duties. And you will realize that also, I mean, if you look at this year's, I mean, theme, Protect Education in Emergency Now. I mean, looking at, you know, numerous, you know, emergency situations that are happening, you know, across the world, taking, you know, the outbreak of COVID into account, taking the, you know, the war in Ukraine, and then, of course, bring it, you know, closer at home, taking the Fonyi issue, which, I mean, led to thousands of students, you know, I mean, displaced internally. And you realize that, you know, when it comes to that, we think that there's a need for action, for government to really, you know, have inclusive planning when it comes to in terms of education. And of course, this inclusive planning have to, you know, also put into consideration, I mean, include funding for emergencies, you know, education in emergency. We need to also, you know, also need to put into consideration, or of course, include the civil society organizations into play, I mean, during planning, and of course the communities, who are the first responders when it comes to in terms of emergency situations, and of course teachers. Yes, there are so many things that happened, you know, that, you know, of course we are proud of when it comes to in terms of achieving or success stories in education, but yet we have a lot more to do, and then the country has a lot more, because we are still below the ECOWAS demand for education financing. That is the 15% of our GDP, which we are yet to meet. That meaning government need to do much more in that. And of course, you know, you also need so many other policy, you know, actions, policy pronouncements that we need to really, you know, look into, like in the issue of, let's say, access. Of course, we are registering a lot of achievement in that, but yet you go to so many schools, you will realize that there are still story buildings. You know, many children with disabilities on wheelchair wouldn't have access to their choice of classrooms. Also, I mean, you come to education in emergency, as this year's team, you know, call for Protect Education in Emergency Now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jobate. And Aliu?
Yes, I just want to bring in Danso here. You're from Activista and a key partner to this whole initiative. I just want to know, what is your role, to be specific? What is the role of Activista in this whole initiative?
Yeah, the good thing about the consortium is about partnership, And in terms of decision making, we are a critical player in it. We are not only seeing IFANET being the sole owner of this, but in terms of implementation, coordination, planning, and execution of whatever is happening, Activista is in the center of it. So we have a culture of partner contribution, partners feeling owned, like have the feeling of you own what you are doing. So in the process, once you are included, you are able to do whatever you want to do. But in terms of the Gawi, we had series of engagements. And one thing beauty about this whole thing is it creates the platform where you can directly engage with stakeholders, being it students, being it teachers, being it those in authority. So bringing these people together in a single platform, that is the main event. Last year we did it in Basse. The governors were invited, the local government councillors were invited, and so on. So this year it is happening in LRR. When? This Saturday, that is the 21st of this month. So we're hoping that the local government, starting from the council chairperson down to the governors coming down, and teachers and any other stakeholder within will be in attendance. So in that session, that's where stories comes in. That's where findings from previous years on issues affecting students in crisis. Because we have seen in Fonyi, it has affected a lot of people. It has caused displacement of students to an extent that education at some point have to even shift the examination calendar.
It's really interesting.
So these are
also, but I'm afraid we have to stop it here. We're running out of time.
We will do this again.
I mean, I think we'll try to have you here again, maybe after the event, to discuss more about the outcome of the Saturday event. And then thank you so much for coming on this program, Jabate, and also thank you so much for being on the program, Bande.
Yes, thank you very much, and we'll try to invite you again, maybe after your event. What we'll do, we'll take a short break, and after the break, we'll go straight to what we call entertainment. And Skengman is here, and he have guests in the studio.
I have to leave, Balde.
Oh, Ali, you are leaving me already.
I'm leaving you, so you do the rest of the program.
But gentlemen, I apologize. We didn't give you coffee. I was thinking you following the 6 days.
No, it's
I was thinking you fasting. You don't fast the 6 days?
I do, but I have a whole month to fast.
Okay. We'll be right back.
I just raised my fist.
The biggest mobile money service in the Gambia has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply. Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow. Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75C and $100C and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10C to $100C using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. eFundHunter is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that break. And of course, we innovate, others flow. Now we go straight to what we call the click segment here on QTV. And Skegman is already in the studio.
Exactly.
Today we're taking a different trend, man. We're sitting down. For the first time, we're sitting down.
Exactly. Good morning, guys. I'm Skegman Susie, and this is the morning show that comes away from Monday to Thursday. Trust it, there's a different level, man. Everything is about to go down. With me in the studio, I have Amadou Viper and Makabas. Welcome to the show, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
and
man.
a big shout out to my brother Makabas. Happy birthday to you, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Birthday, guy.
Yeah, Dundal my G.
Yeah, I mean, so it's about to go down. Yeah, Amadou Viper, Gum the album.
History, man.
Let's talk about
something
it,
big about to happen. I'm saying.
Yeah, the album has been out.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gum.
When I present with it, now I'm saying album has been out.
Yeah.
Finally, alhamdulillah, I'm gonna pick up steam. So you better you go. You know what I'm saying? It took a while, but you get pick up league.
So far, what is the response you've been getting?
The response has been really amazing. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, because of not getting a project, they think like, oh, Nekoton said that or something. But when they hear the 15th track, I'm gonna like, damn, come here. I'm not job leave, and they're like, damn, yo, shit, we still got respect for you.
For real, man.
So good. Response is positive, man.
So a lot of people know you as a rap Mbala artist, and I hope you have the same vibe as well. That is, taking it to another level.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of rap Mbala vibe in the album. You know what I'm saying? But personally, I don't like to be boxed into any category. Yeah. I'm an artist, man.
For real, man. Hey, Makabas, happy birthday, brother.
Hey, thanks, man.
Luckily, you're dropping a video of your EP today.
Yeah,
the video is dropping down today on your birthday, bro.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this video itself, man. I saw the trailer of the video, man. I was really amazed, man.
Yeah.
Next level, quality, production-wise, everything is just overrated, man. So let's talk about it.
Video, I'm grateful the video we take. I'm gonna get us more birthday because video is special. Understand? Like video, then you def work over the time. Like Coco shoot shot dafa jógee ba Denmark ñëw ba fii nii pour ñu shoot vidéo bi. mu delluwaat Villain ak Paps. gars yi dañ jógee ba Angleterre ñu ñëw ñu shoot vidéo bi so like dañ si put in work bu bëri understand nga so like moo tax vidéo bi suñ ko release foog ñu release ko si special day daal.
Exactly.
Nga like small birthday, you know.
So I saw you when Pastor Liu came to the Gambia.
Yeah.
You guys were vibing a lot. You know, are you guys working on something else?
No, exactly. Like. Joe going there, but hopefully very soon. Very soon.
Hey, big shout out to African Rebel. Trust me, man, we're proud of you.
Yeah,
keep
man.
doing your thing, Pastor Liu.
Yeah,
keep repping the Gambia, and trust me, you're gonna get there one day, man. You're already there, but you're gonna get bigger, man.
Inshallah,
for real.
inshallah.
Now, Viper, the show, Penyamiol, it's going down, man. What should people expect from you?
Yo, man, I mean, it's gonna be magical. Okay, leave vibe boy. I feel like the shows lately they've oversaturated. It's just the same people on every shows, the same people doing the shows. Everybody, you get them the same shows.
Yeah.
So, Gum Gum album is something getting an August vibe on this level.
Yeah.
So Lola Nama come dingen go guess.
And I want you to do me a favor. Yeah. Let's premiere the new video you dropped with Hussein and Speed on the show, man.
Let's do this.
Let's do it, man. We're going for a quick break. Let's take a look at this video that Viper dropped with Hussein and Speed. Actually, the song is called Bongo. Let's check it out. And from there as well, we're going to check out Makabas, the trailer of his video that's supposed to release today, man. Go for a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Dada.
It's J Life music.
It's a Martin. It's a Martin. Yeah.
Girl, you and I, you're like, oh, wide, my life, you're the one that I want, girl. Take you for a ride, on my side, till I ride, my life, you're the one that I want, girl. Hold on, baby, you're my star and everything that I can know you want, baby. Yo, yeah, my booger down, now first. No money, my bookie jewelry, no designer, my bookie suited, for you, Cody. Ibalo Jupe. And when nobody gave a fuck, it telling Jupe. No money, mon bouquet Jupe. No designer, mon bouquet suite. For you Cody, Ibalo Jupe. And when nobody gave a fuck, it telling Jupe. Can you take a day many bongo? Can you not gente when you spread? Can you take a day many bongo? Can you not gente when you spread? Can you take a day many bongo? Can you not gente when you spread? Can you take a day many bongo? Can you not gente when you spread?
The glove is blind, man, Gisatuma. I am for you, man, Yola Kumba. I chose you, never looking back. All I told my money bags coming in, what my lobuga. You got me whipped like I'm Django. You killing it, they tell ya no. Guy, for a second, tell a man yo. I know all these haters in your Joe. Love hurts, but they say love hurts. Well, anything, y'all are first. Then you're them sick and I'm doing the verse. Them new young, but no need to rehearse. I'm maybe new hard and they why a female rehearse. My love, my love.
That's Bongo by Amadou Viper, Speed and Hussein Dada. Let's talk about the video, bro.
Hey, it's magic.
I know you're working with Speed, but having Hussein on this joint is a different level, man. Everything was just really on point, man.
You know, Afro Vibe, like, and you gotta give credit to Hussein. Come, you're not the lead Afro Vibe right now, so it was only right, man, because Afro Vibe.
Yeah, but this song is not on the album.
It's on the album, bro. Who's the album? It's on the album.
And you trust me, you know, I listened to the album, but it's like I didn't pay focus to the song actually. But
I'm gonna do boy. Most songs get really recognized after social video.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like, yo, but it's on the album.
It's a nice song.
Come to it's final album ability and get the songs. You dig a guy and they're picking up steam. Yeah.
And now to Macabas, bro. Let's do a classic introduction of the video you're dropping today.
Yeah,
let's do a premiere of it right on QTV, but we're not going to premiere the whole video. We're just going to play the trailer.
Yeah, man.
And then, trust me, by 3 o'clock, check on his YouTube channel. You're going to see the video there as well.
Yeah, man.
Macabas, he's dropping his video today. Let's go for a quick break and be right back.
Man's got one drill tune there from a big producer in the UK, you know, he just got me one. Obviously got the listen at Clubhouse. I'm gonna make him better connection. And I got a bad boy beat, I just need one bad boy drill artist to go in it. Then I hit back up. You get me? Yeah, he's proper still, man, wanna pattern with him still.
It's gonna go out today, man. It'll be out today by 3 o'clock, so I think you should check it out, man.
Yeah,
now let's
man.
talk about this video, Macabas. Mostly it's like you work with Villain and Paps all the time.
Yeah.
I listened to one of your songs where you feature Villain on it, and it was a massive, man.
Yeah, the photo.
Yeah, so let's talk about this one as well, man.
Yeah, like this one. Dafa am benn producer bu nekk like UK Ridla. Moo ñu tegal like beat bi. So Villain moo ma one beat bi, then like he was like tegal ma foofu noonu hook daal. I don't understand. So like the beat was like really scary.
Okay.
Understand nga? So like ma déglu beat bi déglu ko waat ba si yaaga sax like bul tiit la ma jox daal. Xam nga understand?
Yeah,
that vibe la fa am. Xam nga understand?
Can you just give us like let's say a short freestyle from the song that you're dropping today, because there is no audio actually from the video that we just played.
No
so let's go with
no
5
problem.
bars from the song.
No problem.
Yeah.
Rabi lu fi yëngu léegi ñaari nit la killing da nga fege ni ka counterfeit nga mën a fen mën a duul te ku ñàkk a fit nga da nga segoon ku bi dal léegi di nga sig di seet si man te xam ne taal ma teg si os yàgg sa rab xoos na loo si xaj teg fi son bu bon di baal ni xay demal jéngu léegi tëj sa.
Hey, for real. No, Viper, I'm gonna ask this question. Yeah? I'm gonna ask this question. What is it gonna be like having you and Macabas on a collabo?
It'll look dope.
And he's my dumb guy, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Viper is more like a mentor to this new school artists that are coming up. You know, Viper, he's been doing it way back, and I believe he's still keeping his strength.
Definitely.
People are really liking what he's doing, man. So, guys, I'm making a special announcement. We're gonna have a collabo with Macabas and Viper in the studio. Mario, let me have my beat, man. Let me have my beat. Let's have a collabo, man. Macabas is celebrating his birthday today, and my brother here is about to launch his album, man. The Pending Hall Boom Boom, man. So let's go with the beat, man.
We got a good relationship.
Yeah. Trust me, officially, we're doing a collabo on this morning show with Amadou Viper and Macabas, man. And I'm producing the song today.
Hey, I get lit. I get lit. I get lit. I am about my business. Money coming fast. Business. I am about money. Squat shit. Yeah, man. I am about business. Hana my day. Rita Dalasi Aktala money. Make a billion bala my day. Holly step a sexy fella hana day. Digging task, them I digging task. Melly mass man, them I mass. A lot of cash in this money bags. Money bags on money bags. Take it like woodman, guru my chapter. Get in this guala so jarunga latte. I let it pile up man hamu marafle. Toro hal non for bual se jamu. Fuck my sauce, smelly my fe. You're the Holly smelling back and back. And if they hate you, nell and mate. I left the mark, smelling back and back. Digging task, them I digging task.
Marco boss.
Bibi dafa neex. Moo tax ma ne xoolal mi daal loo ma wax rek ma reetaan su ma xool di ma coxotaan ma di la woyal ba nga neelaw xoolal mi daal loo ma wax rek ma reetaan su ma xool di ma coxotaan ma di la woyal ba nga neelaw xoolal mi follow me fall on me baby night be call me ma di la woyal ba nga hola mi dal lo ma ware ma yeah man inshallah
it is what it is bro excuse my voice by the way but it's such bad stuff it's such bad stuff
so you guys are doing your thing man out there man so Viper, I know the show is not far. It's just around the corner, actually, man. And people are expecting a lot from you as well, because you're not a new school artist. You're actually an old school artist, and you're like an OG in the game. You've been doing it big, man. So what I want to ask is actually, how should people actually like come to the event and what is your rapport with other young upcoming artists as well? Are we going to see any other upcoming artists? Because I believe you work with them a lot. Yeah.
Matter of fact, a lot of performances you see upcoming artists inside Lamar.
Exactly.
So we have more upcoming artists actually performing than even the main Hamga. Man kese like, you know what I'm saying? I don't care. I'm not even gonna put their big names.
Yeah.
But smart team with their like, you know,
you should.
You know, them that deaf guy, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like they come big names and people have been seeing them perform like,
all the time.
at every show, man.
Give
every show,
well.
So I feel like okay, I don't want you can have an upcoming chance more than them.
So your final words to the fans out there, what should people expect from the show and stuff?
It's gonna be incredible. You know, you have upcoming segment, then Yangam Smart segment, then you have the main acts, Yangam guests from also Senegal, Fladu, Bandi Mijo, Demaski, Baba T, you have Kabi King of Casa from Casamance, you have Hakil and Authentic Zeus from Dakar. So it's not a big small
obviously
show.
I'm gonna pull up, man.
It's
talk about the fans, what's the fans out there, and then what should people expect from you, man?
Like, naga expect something big, something different, and some next level thing. I'm of my like, I'm full album butegu, different vibe, different thing, full like video bo hamne then put in work bo bari bo hamne like lol ngeen deserve that. Lol small fancy deserve that. Naga expect something way bigger and different from me. Inshallah.
And from my end, I'm saying bye till I come here tomorrow. But trust me, before I take a leave of you, I'm not gonna stand today. But don't forget to check my plug, man. Check my plug, man.
Man.
Big Sang right at Busumbala. He's gonna fix you up, man. Call him on 397-3856. Check him out. He's gonna get you something like this, man. Trust it. I'm unique in my shot right now, man. I wish you guys could go and see it. The stuff that he has for you as well. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. It's Kingman Sweezy. Facebook Sweezy B40. Twitter as well as Kingman Sweezy. That's it from my end. And big shout out to my brother Mamad and happy birthday to my brother Makabas. And happy birthday to my own brother as well, Omar Mario Carter, all the way from Brikama. Keep doing your thing, man. So for my end, I'm saying bye-bye till I come your way tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Skengman. And of course, viewers, this is all we have for you. You can also follow the repeat of this program at 12 a.m. Until we come here again tomorrow, bye for now.
Bye for now, man. Bye-bye.